Namaste everybody, and welcome back to my virtual yoga studio here on YouTube. As always, I am extremely grateful, extremely excited to share practice with you. And I am filming this practice the night before Halloween, so if you're watching it around this time, a very spooky, very happy Halloween to you. But no matter what time of the year it may be when you're watching this, it is always an appropriate time to get a little witchy, and that's what we're going to do here. So in honor of this upcoming holiday that I'm filming very close to, I'm going to share something really special with you. I teach this workshop called Yoga Magic, a Potter Practice, which is a Harry Potter yoga and spiritual experience. And the question that I'm asking with this workshop is, what if we took up these 7 texts, these 7 novels that have been so magical to so many of us and helped shape so many of our lives, as if they are sacred? And I get that inspiration partially from a fantastic podcast called Harry Potter and the Sacred Texts, which you should all listen to. And the question that I'm essentially asking is, what if these texts have something to teach us about living as yogis in the world? And this ancient spiritual tradition of yoga itself was founded on texts, on sacred texts, like the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas and the Yoga Sutras. So I'm asking, what do these texts have to teach us about living from a place of open-heartedness and wholeness and peace, which is what yoga is all about? And I really do believe that they have a lot to say about those things. So on that note, I'm going to share a little piece of my Harry Potter yoga and spiritual workshop with you tonight. And it's a little something that I like to call magical meditation. So there are 7 books in the Harry Potter series. There are 7 parts to Harry's journey that we get to read about. And coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, there are also 7 major energy centers, 7 chakras that live along the spine in the teachings of yoga. And we use these different energy centers to know ourselves better and to heal ourselves. So I do think it's pretty magical that there just so happen to be 7 of these and 7 chakras. And the way that I see it and approach it, each part of Harry's journey just so happens to align with each of the qualities of our 7 chakras. And like I said, that might not be a coincidence. I believe there might be some divine connection to that. So I would love to share that with you. So we're going to meditate together. So I want to invite you to get into a comfortable seat for meditation. That might mean that you sit in a chair. That might mean that you sit on your meditation cushion. That might mean that you take some blankets under your hips like I have. There is no right or wrong way to find your seat, as long as you find some place where your spine can get long. That's all I'm really asking for. Now you may want to lift up your hips a little higher than your knees like I have. That can be very kind to your low back and your hips, so you decide. If you're sitting on the floor, you can cross your shins in easy pose, Sukhasana, or you can stack one foot in front of the other in Siddhasana, or you can sit on your heels or on a block between your heels. If you're in a chair, you can just sit with your feet resting on the ground, whatever you need to do to find that long spine. And just be aware that whatever seat you choose for your meditation will probably be your first of many seats. So I fully believe that even though we are trying to get into the stillness of meditation, it's okay to move your body. Like my teacher says, we don't want to take tension from the mind and put it in the body. So as we meditate, please take care of your body. So if that means you need to move and adjust, even as we're practicing, please do that. So you can bend a knee, or you can extend a leg, or change your seat entirely, but feel free to move if you need to. But for right now, we're going to find that first comfortable seat wherever you are, lengthening the spine, softening the shoulders, softening the jaw, and lifting the heart. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. If not, you can gaze softly at the floor, just finding some softness in your eyes. Perhaps you also find the intention of softness as you begin to take your most intentional breaths, just breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. nostril breathing in this meditation, just in through the nose and out through the nose. This nostril breath that soothes our nervous system. It's like taking our stress response and dialing it down like the volume on a stereo. So as you breathe in and out through your nose, you are physically telling your body, okay, there's nothing to stress about right now. There's no danger. We don't have to constrict and get into this fear response. We can turn that down and just ease up a little bit. So with that intentional nostril breath, you just begin to pay attention to your breathing. Just noticing, feeling and sensing as the breath comes in through your nose and goes out through your nose. Trying to turn our awareness inward to the breath as we begin this practice together. As you try to intentionally focus more awareness on your breath, your mind might freak out a little bit. It might wonder why you are suddenly not giving it all the attention that it's used to. So your thoughts might continue to chatter, or they might even get a little louder, and that's totally natural. We can release ourselves from judgment because we will have thoughts, and that's okay. What we're going to try to do is observe the thoughts just as we would observe the breath or observe the body. And in that place of observation, we can lovingly, peacefully draw the awareness back to the breath, to the sensations and feelings of the inhales and exhales. And it doesn't matter how many times you find yourself thinking and you have to draw your awareness back to your breath. You just do that over and over, establishing your own presence. And there are deeper dimensions to the meditation practice, which we will explore together. But already you are teaching yourself to meditate just like this. Just by consciously bringing your attention from the thinking mind to your breath over and over. That is fundamentally meditation practice. So here you establish your own presence, your own practice. Knowing that you can return to this breath over and over, no matter what else happens in your practice. My spiritual teacher, Swami Jayadevi, always says that if she can only get you in front of her one time, if she could only teach you one thing, it would be the breath. The breath is that unfailing tool that can return us to consciousness, no matter where we are. It is the container for every practice that we do, whether we're practicing on the yoga mat, the meditation cushion, or simply trying to live more mindful lives. The breath is where the magic happens. So you allow that breath to be the centerpiece of your own meditation practice. Making sure that you are in your most comfortable seat. You continue to relax your shoulders away from your ears. You lift your heart, lengthen your spine. You can rest your palms face down in your lap as a gesture of grounding. You can turn your palms to face the sky as a gesture of receiving, or use whatever hand gesture is most comfortable and optimal for you. Keeping the space of breath awareness, bring your attention to the base of your spine, to the place where your tailbone meets the earth. This is the first chakra, the first energy center along the spine. Breathe in your own awareness, that embodied presence, into this space at the base of your spine. This first chakra is associated with the qualities of grounding, safety, steadiness, and stability, of feeling at home in our bodies and ourselves. It is associated with new beginnings, of beginning again. And similarly, in the first part of Harry Potter's story, his entire world is changed, and he takes part in the ultimate new beginning when he finds out that he is a wizard. He has access and agency in this magical world that he never knew existed. He is allowed to come home fully to himself for the first time in his life. He begins to ground himself and establish himself in this new and wondrous world. A new beginning of magical proportions. And so, as we breathe awareness into this first chakra space, we call forth that feeling of a new and magical beginning, of our own ability to begin again, no matter who or where we are, of our own feeling of being at home in ourselves, safe and steady in our world. And then with the power and force of your breath, you draw your awareness physically upward to the space right between your hip points, to your low belly. Maybe force isn't quite the right word, so on the current of your own awareness, you draw upward to this space, the second chakra, second energy center, right at the lowest belly. Associated with the qualities of creativity, creation, of our own creative ability to see the world as it could be. And so too, in the second part of Harry Potter's journey, does this incredible witch named Hermione Granger use her own incredible creativity to create this complex potion as a 12-year-old witch. She creates this potion in order to solve a problem, in order to keep her fellow Hogwarts students safe. She is the embodiment of using our creative capacity to help the world, to see the world as it could be, to stand firm in our own creative and powerful capacity. So as we breathe awareness into this second chakra space, this second energy center, we call forth our own creative abilities beyond our wildest imagination. Our creative ability to do what needs to be done, to make the world better, to grow, to see our lives and the world as it could be. And even here, if your thoughts intrude, you simply return to the breath with no judgment and return to awareness of this second chakra space. And then on that current of the breath, we draw our awareness upward once more to the belly, the abdomen, the third chakra space, the third energy center along the spine, associated with power. And in the third part of Harry's story, he and Hermione go back in time to save innocent lives, to uncover the truth. And this is a teaching about the power of truth, the power of time, the power of ingenuity, loyalty, friendship, belief. And so you breathe those qualities of power and truth into your belly as you rest your awareness here for a few moments. The breath continuously guiding you back into the container of your practice, no matter how many times your mind wanders. And then once again, the breath allows you to rise and your awareness moves upward now into the center of your chest. The heart chakra, fourth energy center. Your spiritual heart, your heart space. This energy center is associated with the qualities of love, compassion, goodness, and service. And in the fourth part of Harry's story, he competes in this tri-wizard tournament, this competition for wizards and witches. And he competes alongside a wizard boy named Cedric Diggory. And in Cedric Diggory's love of goodness and fairness, he decides to tie with Harry. They win the tournament together rather than taking the glory for themselves individually. And this act of service, goodness, and giving ultimately costs Cedric his life. So as we breathe our awareness and intention into the heart chakra space, we ask, what if we could love goodness, fairness? What if we could love justice and light so much that ultimately we give our lives to them? We allow our hearts to pour forth with love. In the fourth part of Harry's story, he is also surrounded by the ghostly figures of his parents in a moment of battle. They protect him. And this is a teaching about the love of our teachers and our lineage and our community. As we breathe awareness into this deep space of love that is the heart chakra, the heart space, we call forth to the love of our teachers, our community, and our lineage, allowing it to surround us and protect us as we pour love out of our hearts, pour goodness out of our hearts, just as Cedric Diggory would have done. The breath keeps us here in the container of the practice, even if the mind wanders. No judgment, just breath. And then once again, the current of our breath allows us to rise up. And this time we bring our awareness to the throat, the fifth energy center, the throat chakra, associated with our voice, our speech, our ability to be heard, but also our ability to listen deeply. And in the fifth part of Harry Potter's story, he is reeling from the trauma he experienced in the year before. And because of this, he's having a hard time communicating with his loved ones. And they're having a hard time hearing him and understanding him. And so this is a teaching to have grace for our own process of healing, for the healing of those around us. To know that we have a voice in all things, even when it's hard and messy. To be willing to listen to the deep truth of others, even when it's hard and messy. To be willing to listen to the deep truth of our own hearts, even when it's hard and messy. This is the teaching of the throat chakra and of the fifth part of Harry's journey. You breathe your awareness into your throat, into your own capacity to heal and speak and listen. In the fifth part of Harry's story, he also begins to struggle with his deepening connection to Lord Voldemort, this force of evil in his world. He worries that he too might be as evil as Voldemort, but he comes to learn that it is not about the fact that he has darkness within him, for we all have darkness within us. Instead, it is about the choice he makes to be on the side of good anyway. And so in this throat chakra, just like Harry, we remember that we have agency. We can choose to be on the side of good, to use our voice for good. And then again, just naturally as falling asleep, as Sirius Black would say, our awareness rises up once more, now to the space right between the eyebrows, the third eye, the sixth chakra, the sixth energy center. Perhaps you look up and out to the space between your eyebrows to help focus your attention and awareness on your sixth chakra. A space that is associated with inner wisdom, with a deeper consciousness that goes beyond the thinking mind. In the sixth part of Harry's story, he goes deep into Lord Voldemort's history. He revisits memories that belong to many witches and wizards as a way of gaining wisdom, gaining the wisdom he needs to fight evil. And so too in the sixth chakra do we cultivate the wisdom that we need to be a force for good in the world. The wisdom that we need to know that there is goodness within us. In the sixth part of Harry's story, he also begins to spend a lot of intimate time with Dumbledore, his teacher, his spiritual teacher, his guru. And so in the sixth chakra, we acknowledge the wisdom of our teachers, our lineage. In the sixth part of Harry's story, he also loses Dumbledore, his guru, to death. He must begin his journey in a new way on his own without the guidance of his spiritual teacher. And so in the wisdom and consciousness of the sixth chakra space, we bow not only to the teachers outside us, but to the teacher within us. The consciousness within us. We breathe that consciousness and awareness into the sixth chakra space, and even if the thoughts come, we simply observe. We come back to breath, and we come back to the practice over and over again. Once again, for the final time, the breath carries our awareness up to the seventh chakra space, to the crown of the head, and the space just above the crown of the head, the seventh energy center, crown chakra. This energy center is associated with consciousness beyond thought, with a relationship to our own soul, with the death of our ego, the death of whatever it is that keeps us separate from the bliss of the universe. And in this space, we reach for the bliss of the universe. In the seventh part of Harry Potter's story, he willingly walks toward death. It's not easy. His heart is racing the whole time. He's scared. He is uncertain, but he willingly walks toward death. And so too on the spiritual path, the path of the yogi, we walk willingly toward the death of our own ego. It's scary and it's messy, but we willingly walk toward our own inner work for the sake of a better world and for the sake of a better life, which is just what Harry does. He sacrifices himself so that the world can be better. And so too, we do the inner work of reaching for consciousness so that we can be happier and the world can be better. And in the seventh part of Harry's story, after his death, he has a choice to make. He can either move on or he can return to the land of the living, to continue to serve humanity and fight for a better world. There's a Buddhist teaching about the bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is a soul who has reached nirvana, reached universal consciousness, reached enlightenment, if you will. But instead of choosing to stay or move on or remain in the peace and bliss of nirvana after death, the bodhisattva chooses to reincarnate in order to continue to work for a better world, to serve humanity. And so too does Harry James Potter choose not to move on or stay in the peaceful place of limbo after his death. He chooses to go back into the fight for a better world. He is a bodhisattva. And in this blissful, soulful, and conscious 7th chakra space, we are reminded of our own bodhisattva nature, our own Harry Potter nature, of the magical being within all of us who is capable of cultivating deep consciousness in service of ourselves, our happiness, and our peace, and in service of a better world. So as we breathe into the crown of the head and into the space just above the crown of the head, the space of the soul, we reach for that magic, that consciousness. The two are not different, for consciousness is magic, and magic is consciousness. We reach for those qualities in ourselves, and we breathe into the quiet bliss that comes from knowing our own soul, walking willingly toward the death of what is no longer serving us, so that we may live a deeper life and create a more magical world. Continue to breathe into that space of magic and consciousness. In just a moment, we're going to do some breathing through the mouth. And each time you exhale through your mouth, I'd like you to just imagine pouring your awareness back into your body. So please take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Just returning to your own body. Inhale. Good, one more time. And from here, take an inhale, reach your arms above your head, reaching for that magic of awareness. As you exhale, imagine gathering that awareness between your hands as you take your hands to your heart. And typically we would close a consciousness practice with namaste, but for this special and magical meditation, all I can say is mischief managed. Thank you for sharing in this practice with me. Please take your time as you come out of the meditation, maybe spending a little more time in stillness, simply being rather than going right back into doing. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to leave me a comment. You can reach out to me on Instagram at WildYogiThing. Love to connect with you if you have any questions or you want to touch base. If you liked the meditation, feel free to like and subscribe and share. And as always, I so appreciate sharing this space with you. Thank you, witches and wizards, and may you have a magical, magical rest of your day, night, week. Blessings. I love you.